Okay, good morning, everybody. I would just like to know how many people have not tested yet. Should I go through the process of how to get tested, or should I? Okay. All right. So the first thing, of course, is to get hold of a DNA kit. All right. So we recommend that you rather start with, that you definitely start with Ancestry if it is at all possible. The reason is that Ancestry has the biggest database of people that have tested for you to be compared with. And also because Ancestry does not accept uploads from other laboratories. So if you test with Ancestry, you can transfer your data, your DNA data, to several other platforms, but not the other way around. So if possible, try to get hold of an Ancestry test kit. If you want to also test your paternal line or your maternal line, then you have to test with family tree DNA, because they are the only ones, except for 23andMe. Family tree DNA tests autosomal DNA, that is the DNA that you received from all of your ancestors, as well as your paternal line, that is your father's father's father, and so on, back to many millions of years ago, and also the maternal line. If you want to test both your autosomal and your paternal, that's only for men, and maternal, men and women, then you can, what we would recommend, or what I would recommend, is that you test your autosomal DNA with Ancestry, transfer it to family tree DNA, and then there on family tree DNA, test your paternal and maternal lines. MyHeritage is also a very good option. MyHeritage has actually grown a lot, and they have, you can see, 6.5 million profiles on their database, and they're growing every day because it's so easy to get hold of a kit from them. They ship to South Africa. And also, most people have trees, family trees on MyHeritage. So MyHeritage is also a very good option. So those are the three ones that we recommend. 23andMe does not ship to South Africa. They also have a very good database, but they don't ship to South Africa. And they also don't accept samples that are sent from South Africa. So if you register on their database and you enter an address from South Africa, they will immediately kick you out. So there are reasons to test with 23andMe. Say, for instance, you've got your data on every other database and you're still not finding what you're looking for, then you can order a test from 23andMe. You'll have to get someone to bring it to you from the USA, and then you'll have to return your sample to the USA to be posted there, and you also cannot use a South African address. So the bottom line is, try to avoid 23andMe. First choice is Ancestry, but family tree DNA and MyHeritage are also very good choices. How to get hold of a DNA kit? Family tree DNA and MyHeritage shipped to South Africa, and up to now it hasn't been such a big problem to get the kits, hold of the kits, because it seems like the customs people have not realized that those are also DNA test kits. Ancestry is a very big problem. They don't ship to South Africa, and if you use a courier to bring it here, then the courier companies are under instruction to let the South African Health Products and Regulatory Authority, SAHPRA, they're under instruction to let SAHPRA know that this DNA kit has arrived. SAHPRA considers it a medical device, and they want you to have a license to have a medical device. So the kit will be kept at customs until you can either prove that you have a license to import it, or if you can convince SAHPRA that it's for your personal use, they might release it. So the best thing is to rather get someone to bring it in their luggage, or you can contact me. I have a way of getting them here. I have a lady in the USA that lets us ship to her address, and then she finds someone to bring it here. She's an expat South African, and she has a network of South Africans that travel back and forth. So bottom line is, let me know, and I'll put you on the waiting list for an Ancestry kit. I also usually have family tree DNA kits, blank kits. That means it's only a kit. I send you the kit to take the sample with. I give you the password and the login details for the kit, and you can order the tests that you want. So that cuts out the drama of getting the kits here. All right, so that is getting hold of a DNA kit, a way to test. Then there's also Mediclinic and Easy DNA. They are local laboratories that also sell DNA kits, and it might be very tempting to order from them because especially Mediclinic is available on Takealot. But in the first instance, it's more expensive than any of the others. You'll see that in my previous slide. If you buy Ancestry on sale, it's $39. It's about 950 to 1,000 rand. Family Tree DNA, $49. I always wait for sales, and my Heritage $39. I even saw a price of $35 this week. So they're much cheaper than the local ones. Mediclinic will cost you 2,200. They don't give you your raw DNA data. They will upload your data to GetMatch, but you are not in control of it unless you specifically ask them to transfer the profile to your own email address. If your data is uploaded to GetMatch by Mediclinic, and you have some matches that want to get hold of you, they won't respond to any queries. It's a huge frustration to everybody. Easy DNA is even more expensive. Their cost is 2,895. They don't let you match with others. They only give you your origins, and they also don't give you your raw DNA data file. You will see the significance of getting hold of your raw DNA data file a bit later on. Does anybody have a question at this point?
Annemarie, sorry, there was a question from Jessie Oliver. Do I have to be a member of all the platforms mentioned?
Then who?
What is that? Jessie, yes, you have to register. On Ancestry, you can use a free account. Up to a point, you can see some of your DNA results while using a free account, but unfortunately, Ancestry has changed their cost. What do I call it? How they charge. So you will see some of it, but not all of it. But you will be able to download your DNA data, and you will see your matches. Once you start trying to look at shared matches and so on, you will need some sort of a subscription. On Family Tree DNA, once you bought a test with them, everything from there on is free. You don't have to pay anything more. On My Heritage, it is also free up to a point. You will need to pay a once-off fee. I'm not too sure how much to use all the DNA tools. So yes, most of them you can use up to a point without a subscription, but you do have to register. This is now, I'm going to give Natalie this slideshow, this presentation. So I don't think we need to work through each of these slides separately. It just tells you more about what I just told you already. On Ancestry, they only test autosomal, can be transferred, so on. Family tree DNA, what I told you, it's autosomal, Y DNA, and maternal DNA, and they accept transfers from other platforms. Also in family tree DNA, if you test with them, you can first only test your autosomal DNA, and then later order Y-DNA tests and maternal DNA tests on the same sample. So you only have to send a sample once. And MyHeritage only tests autosomal. Taking the sample, I always recommend that you take the sample first thing in the morning. This is especially important with Ancestry. I have to say, unfortunately, that the Ancestry kits have a little bit of a tendency to fail. During the last 20 kits that I sent out, 3 of them failed. So it's very important to take your sample first thing in the morning. You don't even rinse your mouth, brush your teeth, don't drink anything before you take the sample. And that's also, you can also do that for family tree DNA, even though they do a swab sample that I've never seen one of those fail. Then the next step is to activate your kit on Ancestry. You go to the DNA tab, and it will tell you, it will give you an option to register a kit. If it's your own kit, you can do it on your own account. If it's a kit for someone else, you will need to send them a link to register their kit. On family tree DNA, it's quite a lot easier. If you have the kit number and the password, you can do it. Then you can also see the results. And on MyHeritage, under the DNA tab, you go to Manage DNA Kits and link the kit to the person that's using it. MyHeritage also now has a feature to share your DNA data with someone that you want to see it. Say for instance, a DNA search angel. You can share your data with them so that they can also see it and assist you. Okay, this is very important, to link your DNA to your tree, to your family tree. I know that a lot of people have privacy issues, and if you don't have a tree, say for instance, you don't know who your parents were, you're looking for your parents, then of course this is not applicable. But if you know anything about your tree and your biological parents and their ancestors, then please link your DNA to your tree. This is so important. Otherwise, the tools, in the first place, the tools of the relevant platform won't work properly to help you see how you are related to your matches. And your matches won't know who your ancestors are. So there are lots of people that are looking for family. And each profile that gets tested will help somebody. If you are a close DNA test to a close DNA match to anyone that's already tested, they will want to see your tree to try and determine how you are related to them. On all of the platforms, live people won't be visible, so you don't have that to be worried about. Yeah, I cannot emphasize this enough. As a DNA search angel, I really find it so frustrating that people don't have trees linked to their DNA. All right, I think we should just stop for a moment and see if there's any, are there any questions now?
Annemarie?
Sorry.
Yeah.
There was a question by James Rogers. Moore, ek het net reg gehoor, as jy reeds MyHeritage getoets het, kan jy net FDNA koop sonder om weer te swap?
Yeah. Yeah, MyHeritage and FDNA is twee verskillende plekke. So if you've tested with family tree DNA, then you can order more tests on the same sample.
Yes, Annemarie.
Mm-hmm.
Family DNA search angels. Is that now like you who's assisting people to try to find relatives?
Yes, correct.
Thanks.
So we call ourselves DNA Search Angels because it's a free service. Nobody charges for it. Yeah, anyone that's looking for family can ask someone to help. Returning the samples to the laboratories is somewhat of an issue as well. There's a bit of red tape involved in that from South Africa. If you want to send samples back to the laboratories from South Africa, it's not an illegal thing or anything like that. There's just some forms to be filled in and some paperwork regarding that. So anybody can do that by contacting DHL or any of the other courier companies to help them. You cannot do it through the post office anymore. Apparently, the post office does not send international envelopes or parcels any longer. So you have to do it by courier. The base cost for a package is quite high. So I am also assisting with that by sending a batch of samples once a month. Because that makes it more, more affordable for everybody. So I put all of the samples in one box and send it once a month around the 15th. Anybody that wants to make use of that service can send me an email to that address that I've given there. The other thing that I find people wonder about is how long the samples can last. They can last for years. I once sent my heritage sample of someone that had it in his drawer for 3 years because he couldn't get it sent out, and it worked. So there's really no reason to worry about how long the sample will last. You don't need to wrap it, especially. You don't need to keep it cool. It's really very simple. You just take the sample in the tube or the little swab, put it in the envelope or the box that's provided, and send it to me. Or send it to DHL yourself if you prefer to do that. Your results you get on the platform that you've tested with. So if you tested with Ancestry, they will let you know once they receive your sample, and they will keep you up to date on how they're making progress with your sample. And once your results are available, they will let you know. Then you log into Ancestry's website and you look at your results there. So they're not going to send you an email with your results or anything like that. You have to check it out on their website. Same with Family Tree DNA, same with MyHeritage. All of them work the same.
So I just saw, I don't know the whole story, but I saw a note on Facebook that we can't get samples from Ancestry, test samples in the country anymore.
Yeah.
Is that
Yes.
right?
Yes, correct. They don't ship to South Africa anymore because of the trouble that SAPRA is giving them. They had lots of queries from people that said they can't get hold of their test kits. So then they try to make it Ancestry's problem, but the problem is actually with the South African Health Products Regulatory Board. They've decided that the kits are medical devices and that people need a license to import them. So they detain the kits at customs. So the only way to get it here is to get someone to bring it in their luggage.
Even if we used to make use of, what did you suggest? Aramex, the global
Aramex, yes,
shopper.
you cannot do that
Aramex.
anymore. I phoned Aramex this
Aye.
week just to make sure, and they say they still have to report it to SAPRA. So
Oh,
you can contact me. I get a batch of kits every now and again. I have a lady that lets me send it to her address in the USA, and then she finds someone to bring them in. So we do get them.
okay.
Okay,
So
you
I
can.
can just send you an email.
You can.
Ag, thanks so much, Annemarie. En dankie vir al jou moeite wat jy doen met hierdie toets. Ek waardeer dit baie.
Yes, baie welcome. All right. Okay, so the very first thing that you need to do when you get your results is to download your DNA data. The reason for this is so that you have it in the first place, in case you don't have access to your profile or for whatever reason, but download it and save it. It's usually a zip file. Do not open the zip file, just save it as is under your DNA stuff on your computer. And then what if you ask me, then I say, please upload your DNA data to all of the other platforms. So if you tested with Ancestry, transfer it to Family Tree DNA, to GetMatch, to MyHeritage, and to Living DNA. There are others, but I haven't found them that helpful, but I say the more places, the better. The reason for this is, especially if you are the one that's looking for family, is to cast your net as wide as possible. Because some people, there are lots of people that's only on one platform. So say, for instance, you have a half brother that only tested on MyHeritage and you are tested on Ancestry and you don't transfer your data, you won't find him. So that is very important, is to transfer your data to everywhere. This does not only help you if you're looking for family, it helps all of the other people that are also looking for family. Your test might be the one that lets somebody find their family. Okay, so please do that. I've got instructions for each platform. As I said, I'll send Natalie this presentation, so you can either take a picture now or find it from Natalie, or you can even email me to get it. Okay, so on Ancestry, it's under your DNA settings. On Family Tree DNA, it's under Results and Tools. And in MyHeritage, also under the DNA tab, Manage DNA Kits. This is the same place where you can share your DNA with somebody that you want to see it on MyHeritage. And then upload it to all of the other places. There are links here that will take you directly to where you can upload your data to the other platforms. But it's easy enough. You can just Google how to transfer my DNA data to Family Tree DNA or to MyHeritage or whatever.
There's a question on the chat, Annemarie, regarding uploading of DNA. Would you then have to upload your tree on every platform as well?
Yes, please. There's only one. Living DNA does not have a facility to upload your tree yet. I really hope that they will rectify that at some point. But all of the others have. I see Family Tree DNA is now linked up to MyHeritage, so you can link your MyHeritage tree to Family Tree DNA. And MyHeritage is also connected to Genie. On GetMatch, you can upload a GetCom. Now, GetCom is your family tree in a file format. On Ancestry, you can build your tree. Yeah, I think that's it. But please, yes, do that.
And just a comment, Genome Link is quite fun for matches and traits, though they do keep bugging one to update.
Okay, what is that name?
Genome Link.
Genome Link. I'm writing that down. I haven't heard.
And then the follow-up question to that is, what are the other sites for uploading to get traits?
I don't think you'll get traits if you didn't specifically post that, but there are two other sites where you could get, two unlinked sites that are they're not family tree sites, and that is Prometheus. I haven't actually written that down. Prometheus, it's Promethease. Prometheus, that's it's not a free site. I think you have to pay $12 for it, but it does give very interesting health related information by using your DNA. And then there's another site. Oh yes, I'm sorry, I can't recall the name now. I will post it on the Using DNA Facebook page. I'll look for it. Sorry, I actually forgot about this. All right, so that one is free. The one that I can't recall the name of. All right, does everybody have another question?
And another question from Jessie, do I have to build my tree on every platform, or can I somehow transfer your family tree to Ancestry?
I don't know what your family tree is. Is that a software program?
A Microsoft app, Annemarie.
I don't know. If you can generate a getcom from it, then you can upload it. I'm not too sure about a Microsoft tree. Don't know what they call it, what the format of that tree is, but a getcom file can definitely be uploaded. Getcom file is a file that you can extract your tree from any of the genealogy software programs, like Legacy, Family Tree Builder. What's the others? Yeah, Gramps, I think. Does that answer your question, Jessie? All right, what you can expect from your DNA results is your ethnicity. Now, I've seen a lot of questions about ethnicity. And my best advice is to take it with a pinch of salt. You will see that on each platform, your ethnicity will be different. And apparently it has to do with how many people they have tested on their site, you know, the pool of data that they have to work with. I've also seen that people that are from the Netherlands, or that have mostly ancestors from the Netherlands, their ethnicity shows as English, causing quite a bit of distress. And apparently that has to do with the British Isles. That, I don't know, was it part of the Netherlands? I'm not too up to date with that history. But yeah, use your ethnicity, but don't only test for ethnicity. That is, yeah, for me, it's not the most usable thing regarding DNA. If you ask me, the DNA matches the people that you are going to find that are genetically related to you is the big thing. So those are the two things that you will find. And then, of course, if you upload your DNA data to one of the other sites that we've mentioned, especially Prometheus, then you will find other interesting information. For instance, I can tell you what I found is I've never been able to really drink alcohol. It makes me feel unwell. So when I uploaded my DNA results to Prometheus, it immediately told me that I cannot metabolize alcohol. So it will give you interesting information like that if you want to upload to that. But the ethnicity, it's not my favorite thing regarding DNA. Okay. This is what your ethnicity, what Ancestry will show you. This is my ethnicity on Ancestry. So they have this interesting feature that they call side view, where they show your two parents, what ethnicity you got from each parent, and then the whole of you. So that's especially if you don't know where, say you find something unexpected in your ethnicity, say for instance some Greek, and you don't know that you have any Greek ancestors or anything like that, then this is quite handy to see which parent did it come from. Now, Ancestry does not tell you which side is paternal and which side is maternal. That is for you to figure out by using your matches. So if you have a known family member that's already tested and you know that family member is on your maternal side, then you can label that match as a maternal side match, and then Ancestry will pick up on that and label all of the others as paternal and maternal. But they won't tell you which side is paternal and maternal to start with. And this is quite a handy thing. It's only Ancestry has this feature at the moment. This is what your DNA matches will look like on Ancestry. These are my matches, my mother and my son and my daughter. So this is what your match list will look like on Ancestry. You will see that it gives you the percentage of DNA that you share with this person. We will get to how much you share with various various relationships a little bit further on. It will tell you how many segments you share with this person and what the largest segment is. And that is important information if you are looking for an unknown family member. Lots of people maybe don't have any interest in this, but lots of people do. Lots of people are specifically testing to find unknown families, such as adopted people and so on. And also, what I've found is that there's a lot of people that are testing for interest's sake, just to find their ethnicity or whatever, and then they unexpectedly find that, say, their father is not their father, or that they are adopted or something like that. So there are lots of people that are looking for unknown family members. All right. Oh, this is very small. So you start by looking at your strongest matches. The key is in your matches. To find anything by using your DNA, the key is always in your matches. So you start by looking at your strongest matches. See if there are any of the close DNA matches that you already know, maybe a cousin or uncle or somebody that's that was tested that you maybe didn't even know about. And once your results become available, there's your match to your uncle. So if you can identify any of your matches, then you can label them as such. You can say it's my uncle on my maternal side, or my cousin on my paternal side, or something like that. So that will already help you to label all your matches. So once you know how you are related to one match, you can look at your shared matches with that person, and you will know that you probably are related to all of those shared matches on the same line than the one that you know. Okay, so you use shared matches to your closest matches to sort your match list into maternal and paternal lines, at least maternal and paternal, that is the very least, so that you can start identifying the other matches. If you can identify your maternal matches, then the others will probably be on your paternal side. Unless there's a lot of endogamy in your family, then you might be related to them on both sides. If possible, you can sort them even further and see if you can identify your 4 grandparent lines. As I said, it's not too easy, especially if you are part of the Afrikaans group in South Africa. We have quite a lot of endogamy, so you might be related to a lot of your matches on both your parents' sides. Right, then you color code or cluster your shared match groups, especially Ancestry and the family, Ancestry and MyHeritage. I think Family Tree also has a feature for this now. And you can also try the leads method. You'll see I've got a link there to a video that Dana leads, where Dana leads. She developed this method where she tells you how to sort your matches into your 4 grandparent groups. Again, this does not work so well if there's a lot of endogamy, but it's always worth a try. I always do this first. MyHeritage has an auto cluster feature under their DNA tools where they will sort your matches into groups that have a common ancestor. They won't tell you who the common ancestor of that group is. That's for you to figure out, but they will tell you, say, this bunch of people have a common ancestor, and then you have to build their trees to find out who it is. Build a private research tree. Now, this is the most important part. I think a lot of people have the idea that once you test your DNA, you're going to get magical answers. But unfortunately, it isn't the case. There is a lot of tree building involved. Especially if your matches don't have trees connected to their DNA. If you can get some information from them to try and build their trees, then you have to build their trees until you can find the common ancestor. So it will take a lot of time, and yeah, you might not find it because people's trees might have errors in them, or there might be an unknown ancestor that they are not even aware of. But the crux of the matter is you will have to build a lot of trees to find the family that you're looking for. All right, so what I do and what I recommend you to do is to build a private research tree. This means you do not put it online because you are you're not always sure that what you're doing is correct. So to put it online is you can put a lot of people onto a wild goose chase. So keep your research tree private. I do it on my genealogy software, but I do not sync it to my website. I use my heritage as software, but I do not sync that tree to the website until I've found what I was looking for, and I can link the person whose DNA I'm looking at to that tree. Okay, so then once you've got a cluster of matches identified that should have a common ancestor, you build out their trees until you find who the common ancestor is. I've said, yeah, minimal documentation is needed. So you can go looking for sources like baptisms and so on and so forth. But at this point, it's not necessary to link it to the tree. We call it quick and dirty trees. So you first look what you find what you're looking for, and then you start adding the documentation. Once you've found the common ancestor pair, you link all of those matches that are descendants from the same ancestor pair. You link them to the same tree, and then you start making guesses as to where your subject, so let's call it a subject, can fit into that tree, and form a hypothesis as to who you think their parents or grandparents or whatever it is that you're looking for could be. And then you start using DNA tools to help you refine your hypothesis so that you can identify people to ask, to test, to confirm it. Okay, so the shared centimorgans tool from DNA Painter is very handy. And also the what are the odds tool. Let me carry on here and I'll... Right, so this chart is a bit blurred. I tried to make it better, but I couldn't really. I've got the link here. I'm going to see if I can maybe share the website, but I think that's going to take too much time. Anyway, you can find it on this website that I've given the link of here at the top. About Darwin Shared Centimorgans project. Again, you can get this link from me or from Natalie in this presentation. So here it shows you how much each person or each relationship, how many centimorgans they should share with you. Now, centimorgans is the how we identify, or it's the, yes, now I don't know what the English word is for this. Let me see if I can find it here. Nikki, do you perhaps know what you call it? I almost want to say currency, but it's not the right word. Anyway, it's a term that we use for how much DNA you share with anyone. So your child, you can see here that you will share, there's about 7,500 centimorgans in a person, to call it like that, and you will share half of that with each of your parents and half of that with your children. The other half will obviously come from your spouse or the children's other parent. Then with your siblings, you will share an average of 2,600 centimorgans, and a half sibling, an average of 1,700. Now, shared centimorgans is not an exact thing. You should always work in ranges. So there's a range for each relationship. So if you don't share exactly 2,600 with your sibling, does not mean that they are not your full sibling. There is a range. So you can see it's about 2,150 up to 3,000. So it's quite a wide range that you can share with a sibling. And the same with all of the other relationships. You can see that it goes up to, what is it, great-great-grandparents and fourth cousins. So it's this is quite a useful table to keep at hand if you are not sure how someone is related or should be related to you. The only thing is that, let me just go back to this. If there is a lot of endogamy in your tree, or in your tree, then a person that shares the amount of centimorgans that a person shares with you might show up as higher than what it should for the relationship that for how they are related to you. So say if you are related to someone in 3 different ways, you have 3 ancestors in common with them, then they might show up as a second cousin, but actually they are only a third or a fourth cousin to you. So you have to keep that in mind. I actually had a query this week from a lady that said she shares 264 centimorgans with one of the DNA kits that I manage, and it seems that it must be a cousin to one of her parents, but she knows all of her cousins' parents, and this lady definitely doesn't fit in anywhere. So I had a look at it and I saw that they actually they share 264 centimorgans, but it's made up of a whole lot of small segments. So they are definitely, that is a typical picture of endogamy. They are related in more than one way. So they're not really that closely related. They just share several ancestors. So you have to keep that in mind when you're looking for family. I think I should stop for a moment and just see if there are any questions.
One question was about you mentioned a Using DNA Facebook page. Is it a good idea to follow or check out this page on a regular basis?
Yes, definitely. There are several other Facebook pages that are also very handy, even if you just follow the questions and answers that are given there, like the DNA Roundtable, DNA Detectives. Those are not local groups, but they are being followed, and I think they might even belong to some of the very experienced DNA, I don't know what they call themselves. It's like that, who's that lady that finds criminals by using their DNA in old cold cases? That type of person follow those groups. So you can always learn from them, even if you just follow.
Another question was, can you DNA results be uploaded to Family Search?
No, unfortunately not. We are all hoping for that. But no, not yet.
Okay.
So,
I don't, if I can add something there, I have several relatives who are Mormons, And I think because of the close relationship which occurred in the early 1900s, 1880s, I think opening that can is going to frighten a whole heap of people. So they tend to shy away from exploring DNA. Thank you.
That's quite regrettable.
And Natalie, I can't pronounce that word. The degree of relationship is what?
Consanguinity. It's the most beautiful word in the whole
Yes.
world. And it's the degree of relationship we share with people. And
Yeah.
it's centuries old. It's just the most beautiful term.
Yeah, that is actually exactly what this
Yeah.
this chart is about. It's a chart of consanguinity. And this is a really good article if anyone wants to go read it. So they say that the significance of shared centimorgans is to identify relatives. Now, for me, that is the most important thing. And then estimating generational gaps, again, very important, because that is how you will guess how someone is, or not guess really, how you can calculate how someone is related to you. And unveiling potential half relations, again, very important. And then homing in on specific family lines. Now, sorry. For me, unveiling potential half relations, I found this in two places in my own family tree, one on my maternal line and one in my paternal line. And the first clue that I had that there is a possible half relationship rather than a full relationship was the amount of centimorgans that those family members shared with me. So for me, I would always suggest that you test as many family members as possible. Not only for your own research, but also to help others. I realize that your family might not always be too willing to do this. In my case, I was lucky. My family was very willing to test, even when I found that some of them shared half relations with the rest of us. But yeah, that is how you will know is the centimorgans, the significance of the shared centimorgans. That is the first thing that you should look at, is how much you share with each person in your family to determine, are they related to you as they should be. All right, and then analyzing your DNA matches. Like I said, recognize ranges. The centimorgans will always be in a range, quite a wide range, and not absolutes, like they say here. And that there's variance within families. And I found that in my own family, there is quite a lot of variance, even though, between the half siblings. And also understand that your siblings might not have the exact same matches than you have. It is quite possible for a sibling to have matches that another full sibling does not have. So that in its own does not indicate that they are not your sibling. And then the relationship charts, like the one that I just showed you, very useful. There are several such charts available if you Google. The term is consanguinity charts, like Natalie said. There are several of those. So each one is useful in its own. Some have other features that the others don't have. And then don't equate high numbers to automatic close relations. That is where people share more with you than you would, or they share more with you, more centimorgans with you than they should for the relationship that you have. As I explained, if they are related to you in more than one way, they might share more with you and seem like a close relation while they are not. Okay, you'll see it says here at the bottom, interpreting shared STEM values is very much a personal task. And that you have to check out for every individual in your tree or that you have tested. Okay. I'm back to matches on Ancestry. This is the Brenda case. Oh, this is the case that I was working on last year, where we found these matches for Brenda. Brenda is an adopted lady, and we were looking for her parents. And these matches on Ancestry helped us to find her parents, especially this Cook lady. The unknown father was in her family to start with. Oh, when we found him. I think I should stop for questions now before I carry on with this.
One question is, Annemarie, any experience on the Cape Dutch DNA project at FTDNA, I gather?
Yes. Most of my family members that I've tested are I've added those kids to that project. I have found that the project seems to have lost a bit of speed, but it is always handy to go and have a look, especially at the surnames in the project that have already been tested, to see if the surname that you're looking for is there. So the project is only about paternal and maternal tests. You can't add your autosomal kit there. But yes, they are still going, but I think they've lost a bit of speed. All right, so this is the leads chart that I was talking about, how you end up with your matches in groups when you use the leads chart. So in this case, I started with Cook. You'll see Cook is the strongest match on the Brenda's list. And then I looked at all the matches, the shared matches with Cook. And they all ended up in the yellow column. Oops, that's a bit far. Next, I looked at the Vortrich, and he was the only one. There are more matches in this line on My Heritage, and I'm still looking at those. I couldn't figure out, haven't been able to figure out yet. And then Welsh was the next one. There's only one, and Morris was the blue one. So what I'm trying to say is this is how you sort your matches into the different grandparent lines using the leads method. Sorry. And then once you've done this, then you will know that all of the matches that are marked in yellow now should have a common ancestor. Once you've determined that, you can look at their trees to see what surnames they are listing in their trees. Like I've done here, you'll see the yellow ones. They have several surnames that are that come up in not all of their trees, but some. The trees were not very complete, but at least I was able to identify Elliot. Let's see it here, and then Folks. So you have to keep an open mind. This person listed Folks in her tree, and this one listed Folks, but it was the same line. So that's another thing that you really have to keep in mind, is that nothing is absolute where it concerns family trees, the trees that people link to their DNA. Keep it in mind and make sure that you look at all of them. If I hadn't looked at Folks and Folks, then I wouldn't have realized that it is the same tree, except that I had a very good clue that it should be the same tree because they were all in the yellow column. Okay, so once you have identified a common ancestor and you have linked those matches, the matches that should have a common ancestor to that ancestor couple, then this is what you should end up with. So this is a chart that I have generated in my my Heritage Family Tree software after I linked all of the matches to this ancestor couple. So you see, then you can see, okay, Brenda has a DNA match with all of these people that I've marked here with the little blue circles. It's a bit small to see, but I've got the next to their names, I've got the amount of centimorgans that Brenda shares with each of them. This is what you are aiming at. If you are looking for an unknown family, if you say you're looking for someone's parents, you will, once you've got to this point, you will know that one of the parents will be someone in this family. You just have to figure out who. And this is where you have to start using your common sense and also some tools like WATO. Now, WATO, I've given you the link here on where to find WATO. WATO stands for What Are the Odds? That's the name of a tool that you can use that will help you to determine where in a certain family the person that you are looking for can fit in. So you've already created your tree, this one. What you have to do is to create a getcom file for it. If you're using genealogy software, you can export this tree into a getcom file. If you are not using genealogy software, then I would really recommend that you do so, because the getcom file is quite a useful thing. You can, for instance, transfer your tree to other platforms with it. But in this case, if you want to use WATO, you will either have to import the tree with a getcom file, or you will have to build it manually. And I think by this, once you get to this point in your search, you would have had quite enough of building other people's trees. So if you can use a getcom, do that. All right, so I'm going to show you what it looks like. This is a getcom. This is a tree that I've imported into the WATO tool by using a getcom. It's the same tree as this one. That's just in a tree form, as you can see. Maybe I should just see if there are any questions before I rattle on. So I've now imported that tree with the little blue circles into WATO. I've told WATO that each of these people, these are the matches. So there's a little toolbox that you can use, and then you can tell WATO, okay, this people shares 27 centimorgans, this one shares 168. These matches are actually a little bit small. I think WATO actually only works with matches more than 40 centimorgans. But anyway, I've added them here just to give you the picture. So these matches are all to Brenda. Brenda is the lady whose parents we are looking for. So you tell WATO how many centimorgans Brenda shares with each of these people. Then you tell WATO what year Brenda was born, and you ask it, give me an hypothesis. And it will tell you where in this tree Brenda can fit in. So here you will see where it gives an hypothesis. Now the screen is a little too small to give you a complete picture. It would usually give you a lot of these green boxes, but it will tell you which one is the strongest. It will not use people that are already in the tree. So if you've got a lot of siblings listed here, and one of the siblings can be Brenda, then you must remember WATO is looking for Brenda. It's not looking for her parent. The matches are to Brenda herself. So if WATO will tell you where in the tree Brenda can fit in. But if Brenda could be one of the siblings, one of the children of, as this couple, it will not use one of the existing siblings. It will always tell you unknown sibling. Brenda could be the child of an unknown sibling, or an unknown half sibling. So it will not link the hypothesis to one of the people that you've already listed in the tree. It will always tell you it could be an unknown sibling of this person. So if you've already listed all of their siblings, then you must go and look at all those siblings and see whether any of them was in the vicinity where Brenda was conceived, or in the right age group, and so on and so forth. So there's also a lot of common sense involved. If all of these siblings were already, if the ladies were already all too old to be the mother, then obviously they won't be a candidate. If one of them passed away, then obviously they won't be a candidate. So using your common sense, you will be able to determine which of the people in the tree you need to look at. And then the big problem actually starts with, because then you have to find people to test, to try and prove or disprove your hypothesis. And with the Poppy Act, as it is these days, it's quite difficult to get hold of people. So yeah, unfortunately, I cannot. I usually use Facebook, but if you know someone that has access to a database that can find numbers and addresses for live people, then you are in luck. Otherwise, you have to try and find family members that can bring you into contact. Especially MyHeritage. On MyHeritage, there are quite a lot of trees that if you find a family tree with the person, say cousins or whatever of the person that you're looking for, then it's worked for me before to try and contact them and tell them, I want to make contact with your cousin so and so. Can you maybe help me? And it's worked. All right, that is WATO. Does anybody have questions about WATO before I move on to the next tool? This is a very exciting new tool. Now, this has been developed by Leah, what's that lady's name? She is the DNA geek. On Facebook, she's known as the DNA geek. Now, she and a team of software engineers developed this tool. They call it Banyan DNA. It's unfortunately not a free tool. But if you are really struggling and you have a lot of endogamy in your tree, especially, then you can try using this one. It lets you add, it lets you build a tree. You can also import a GetCom with your endogamous tree. So you'll see lots of these relationships here go back to several people. This is actually my mother's tree. Now there's a lot of endogamy in my mom's tree, and I was looking for my grandfather's biological father. Now, because there's such a lot of endogamy in the tree, this tool helped me, and the DNA geek actually also helped me a lot to find out exactly who it was. I'm sorry. So what you can do in the Banyan DNA tool is you create a person of interest. Now that is, in this case, was my grandfather. You create the tree with all of the endogamous relationships, and then you start feeding it hypotheses. You tell it, my first hypothesis is that Jan was the child of these two people. Can't see really what I did here. You give it an hypothesis of the two parents that you think it's a possibility that he might be the child of those two, and so on and so forth. You can feed it various hypotheses, and then you ask it, tell me You also add the matches, the matches that you're working with. And you can also add those matches relationship to each other. So it's a very, very useful tool. And then you ask it, which of these hypotheses is the most likely one? And it will tell you, okay, this one is completely out of the water. You can disregard this one. This one is, say, 50% chance, and this one is your best chance. So it takes a bit of getting used to work with. But once you get the hang of it, it's really a useful tool. As I said, it's not free, but if you really have a problem that you cannot get solved, then I would recommend trying Banyan DNA, they call it. You can find it at banyandna.com. And then my biggest recommendation for everybody is to self-study. This DNA geek that I'm giving here, she's the one that developed the Banyan DNA tool. She has short courses that are usually about an hour long on various subjects, and they usually cost $20. So if you follow her Facebook page, then you will be alerted on her courses. Her Facebook page also has very interesting questions. People have interesting questions there that answered a lot of my own questions. Follow other Facebook groups such as the DNA detectives that I mentioned before. And remember that there's no such thing as a stupid question. If you don't ask it, you won't know. So even if you think it's a stupid question, ask it on one of those groups, on the Using DNA group. You can email me. Not that I think I've got all the answers, but I might point you in the right direction. And the big thing that I've learned is that you will not learn everything at once. There is so much to learn regarding using DNA for your genealogy that for each course that I've attended, I might have learned one new thing. So that is one thing that you have to keep in mind. You're never going to learn all of it at once. And Google is your friend. You usually find answers on Google, or at least it can point you to where to find them.
So I think the most exciting thing is the DNA matches, and of course those shared centimorgan. I think those are the most exciting discoveries we can make. And on behalf of all the participants here today, I'd like to thank you for being such a wonderful DNA research angel. I think it's incredible. The work that you do is incredible. Keep up your helpful attitude, and thank you for an enlightening presentation. Thank you so much.
You are so welcome. And I'm so sorry that I couldn't come to your meeting venue. As I said, I won't share what problems I have doing that.
All right. Well, I'm glad we could fit it in. And I'll certainly make your presentation available to our members and anybody else who requires it, if you don't have any objections, Annemarie.
No, I have no objections. I will send you the presentation as a file.
Okay.
If anybody wants to stay and have a look at the through lines, do we still have some time in the meeting?
Okay, so Annemarie,
Yes.
how useful is DNA testing in my particular tree, or one of the particular trees, for example? It's the individual. I've got the tree sorted out, inverted commas, till 1850. It's in Britain, it's in the UK, and it always was the tale that Thomas Walker was an orphan from France. Okay. So it's 5-6 generations back.
Yeah.
How useful is DNA at that point? Because I can't think of the right expression. It's watered down significantly.
Yeah, it is watered down significantly, but you will still be able, you will still have matches to that particular person, or matches to people whose trees point back to the same person. So yeah, it's getting a bit far, but you will be able to find it if you really put in an effort.
Okay.
Especially on Ancestry's through lines that we were talking about just now. Have you looked at have you checked it out? Is there anything
Not through
there?
lines, no.
Oh,
But I've got the DNA tests, yes, and I've done that previously for other reasons.
okay.
But it was I can't remember which slide or whatever it was, but it stimulated that question, that thought, because
Yeah.
it's always been a blockage
Yeah.
at 1850 with no.
Yeah.
France is a big place, and it doesn't mean he was
Yeah.
French. It could be an English trawlerman. It
Yeah.
could be anything.
Yes, yes. I see someone commented now that through lines will help you. It probably will. What you need to do is find the matches that point back to that same line. I think it was that tree where all the matches are connected to the common ancestor that probably sparked your interest in this. But you will have to work on it a bit. So if you'll need to check out your matches and see if you can identify the matches that lead back to that specific ancestor, and then check out their trees and see who they have as that person's ancestors. That should give you a good lead.
Okay. Thank you.
And
So
may I
have you-
say, Nigel, how very realistic you are in saying it could be a trawler man. But thank you all for participating. It was a great turnout. Thank you.